What is going on, everybody? This is episode 562 of Pop Culture Crisis. My name is Brett, and I'm here once again with my co-host, who is back. Would you introduce yourself and tell everybody where the hell you been?
I'm back. Whether you like it or not, I am here. I felt reticent about the number of exclamation points that were in the title today because I don't know how excited anyone was. But whether you like it or not, I'm here.
We do live in a world now where you have to decide, like, is this a 2 exclamation mark situation? Is this a 3 exclamation
like
mark
10.
situation?
Yeah.
I tried to do that. It would have looked more uniform.
Yeah, but I was traveling because I met up with Mike Lerner from the New Nation podcast and recorded an episode with him. If you're Catholic, you're definitely going to like it.
What if you're not
But
Catholic?
it's not. We didn't only talk about the faith. We talked about are lesbians real? Men crying on TikTok. We talked about Swifties. A lot of things.
I have noticed that he seems to take particular issue, as he should, with men crying on TikTok. I don't really think anybody crying on TikTok is worthy of.
I mean,
criticism.
nobody. Yeah, that's my take. Like, nobody should be crying on TikTok, but most especially a man recording himself crying.
I find all of it to be a bit whenever I see that, all I can think about is like all the times and troubles I've had in my life setting a tripod up and getting an angle just right. And I'm picturing them. Are they waiting for like the tears to well up and then they start setting it up? Do they set it up first, get the shot perfectly, set up the lighting, and then kind of work themselves up into tears? It's like that video I showed you like the other week where the lady like kicked a hole in the door. I was like, she had to set up a camera to do that, right?
Preparing to destroy my own home.
I'm about to destroy this door that I'm going to have to replace. Here, let me set up my phone.
Just so excited to lose that security deposit.
I did see an amazing video the other day. It was a woman posted like a picture on Facebook of her. She put a new door and it says, "Don't need no man." And the door's on backwards. The handle's inwards.
Oh, that would be me. Yeah. That would be me. Also, are you excited for this event tonight?
Yes, it's gonna. Like, I wasn't even sure if I was going to go, but I had.
Since I mentioned it, you have to go now.
Yes, yeah. No, I asked Allison about it. I was like, can we go? I don't have a ticket. Can I go to the event? Do I have to like scalp a ticket outside of the
Imagine
Martinsburg
you
event?
Can't get in.
That'd be hilarious. I mean, honestly, that'd be better.
Employees not allowed. No free clout.
I would be
no free attendance.
They're like, you can come in, but you got to pay.
Yeah.
This is like, we'll take it out of your next paycheck. They just dock it from our pay.
I just don't entirely even understand what this event is going to be. So like, I don't know if I'm like going to go. Like, I don't know what I'm getting myself into if I did go.
I mean, that's like basically like.
We'll see what the vibe is like after we're done with the show.
Yeah, exactly. So we got editing to do, got stuff to do afterwards, got to get it all done and then on the way. But yeah, guys, we got a bunch of stuff to get into today. But before we do, would you hit the like button on this video, subscribe to this channel, please, if you have not done so already. Share the video with your friends so that more people can come in here, hang out, watch this show, and join in. Also, remember, all Super Chats, $20 and over. We will interrupt the discussion. We will read those Super Chats right then and there. And then we will do our best to get back on topic. Perhaps you want to say hello to Mary and wish her a welcome back. Maybe that's what you want to do. If you want that read right then and there, you got to do the 20, then we'll read it right then. So, no?
Understandable.
Yeah, makes perfect sense, right? Guys, what are we going to talk about today? A bunch of stuff. So, how would you describe this one? You said this was a controversy around woke casting in Dune 2.
Mainly about Zendaya. A lot of people felt that Zendaya was criminally under attractive for the role of Shami in Dune 2. I recently watched it. I watched it yesterday late at night because I just couldn't find another time to go. And it's like, damn, it's 3 hours long, really.
2 hours and 40.
But yeah, I mean, they didn't do her any favors with how she looked in the movie.
Well, I mean, she's traveling the desert. I don't think there's anything wrong with
We'll get into it,
so we'll talk about that.
Yeah.
We're also going to talk about Diddy. The lawsuit keeps heating up as now there is a connection to Jeffrey Epstein. He's literally being called by other people the Epstein of the rap game, basically.
By other people, not us.
Not us.
Don't
not
sue
us.
Please.
Yes, that's what it's going to say in the thumbnail.
I feel like it would look pretty bad for him to sue YouTubers for mentioning things about his lawsuit.
Did you see that the quartering is suing Ian Miles Chong right now?
What? Over what?
Called him I think he called him a pedo on
Who called who a pedo?
Ian Miles Chong referred to him as a pedo, and he's suing him and like the news company he works for.
Are there any grounds to that?
The way he was talking about it, yes. He says it's clear-cut libel, so we'll have to wait and see. I don't know. We're going to get into that.
The guy is not even American.
Yeah,
I just don't even know how that works.
Yeah.
But
so we're going to talk about that. Also, speaking of internet drama, Elijah Schaffer got into it with other people on the internet over Halle Bailey.
Yeah, Halle Bailey, another celebrity getting dragged for her looks right now. She has eyes that are far apart, so what? But Elijah Schaffer of Slightly Offensive, he pointed that out and said Hollywood is being flooded with ugly people. So we'll get into that discussion.
We'll talk about it. All right. So then we'll just go ahead and get started. Now that we're all back into the swing of things, if you're ready, we'll just go.
We didn't need any time to get back into the swing of things. We're already there.
No, well-oiled machine. Let's go ahead and do this then. First things first, you might remember a segment we've done on this show where we torture everyone that comes on this podcast with the trailer for The People's Joker. Well, that wasn't a trailer. What it was a pitch trailer to get the movie made. If you remember, this movie was scheduled to come out for premiere last year at the Toronto International Film Festival, but it got pulled for copyright reasons. It seems, however, they have resolved those copyright issues, and now the first trailer for the film has debuted. Have no fear, guys. This will not become a regular play on the show, but I do think we should watch this and see how Vera Drew did with the trailer.
Yeah, it's definitely less torturous than the pitch trailer was.
It's just chaotic indie art.
Extremely confusing.
Yes. Let's go ahead and watch this then, guys.
Gotham City is nothing but neon biker gangs, leather freaks, and cross-dressers. Is that what you want? Come home.
No, I won't, Mom. I'm gonna be a comedian. When I look back on my life, before going jokeman to harlequin, so to speak, I wasn't even sure I existed. It's like blurry, cracked mosaic of all these gender revelations. You mean she's a he?
I'm trans.
Well, I'm sorry. Well, I'm not sorry. I was fairly certain I was in love, and I was so afraid of that feeling going away.
Ah, but you should be afraid.
I just want my happy little boy back.
I just don't feel like a boy.
You're not. Boy, I've developed an experimental treatment. You'll be Mama's happy little boy.
Also comes in rainbow for pride.
It was foretold that someday a clown would rise.
Sounds pretentious.
It is.
Whatever you say, Mr. J.
Hunka hunka.
Now you must journey inside yourself.
I'm not a hero, and I'm not a villain either.
So who are you?
I'm a woman of my word. I thought clowns were supposed to be funny.
So yeah, there are tickets going on sale right now.
In select cities, unfortunately, the closest one to us is like an hour and a half away.
Yeah.
But I still, I don't know if it was just the music, but it got me low-key excited. I do want to see it. I don't know if we're going to be able to because it has such a limited release though.
Yeah, it just looks like intentionally subversive indie art.
Of course it is. Yeah, we know what it is.
Yep.
I'm sure it would be pretty fun to watch just for the cringe factor for me because I like cringe. But I mean, it's not a poorly edited trailer.
No, it looks fine, and
he's definitely good at editing.
From what Vera Drew showed in even in the pitch trailer, understands timing and delivery and stuff like that. It's just the subject matter is ridiculously cringe.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is
this going to be our new torture video?
No,
I feel like the pitch is still the torture video.
Yes, the first video is still far more torturous than that one was. It's also shorter. But yeah, they talk about where it hails from the mind of Vera Drew. It got pulled from the Toronto International Film Festival. I didn't recognize Bob Odenkirk anywhere in there, but I could have missed him. He could have been in the makeup. But yeah, so thought you guys should see that. You can go and look for showtimes near you if you do end up wanting to see this. I do love reading all of the the comments from the people that have reviewed it because they're obligatory. I would love for them to find me the IndieWire article that's mean to this movie, as if there will be anything that's going to actually be awful.
No, because it's a movie about coming out as trans, so you have to celebrate it even if it's bad.
Exactly.
But you know, it is what it is.
So on Friday, while you were gone, we showed this image of David Corenswet as Superman, and I made the point, I prefaced, I said people are saying this image is fake. And I think the first sign is the cape is super short. Plus, most Superman movies now, they're animating his cape with CGI. They used a real cape for Clark or for Superman in Superman and Lois, but for the movies, all of Henry Cavill's, they've animated the cape. Well, James Gunn has come out to tell you that yes, in fact, this was a CGI image. This is what he said. If it would let me click on it here. There we go. All right. So it says, let's see. Can the man on the left take a photo holding an amorphous black blob while looking through an eyeball in the front of his cap? Can the man on the right's torso grow out of his right hip? And can he be stupid enough to wear his pants with the drawstrings on the back? I mean, I don't know if this was the 80s, you know. That could have been a thing. Are David Corenswet's hands made out of wax without any bones or veins? And might Superman's trunks be knitted with yarn? Ask yourself these questions, and I'm certain you'll be able to answer this on your own. I like the idea that it's still real, and he's just like... He's coping, obfuscating. The guys, they definitely are on backwards. But again, that guy could just have gotten dressed in the dark. Crisscross was a thing back in the 80s. But what it made me think of now that I mention it is we were just looking at those pictures of Kate Middleton where they're like, it looks like they intentionally added a bunch of pixelation and noise to the photo to like obfuscate her face.
Yeah, and then they used AI to make it a clearer image. It looks like a wax figure.
Like, when was the last time you actually saw a blurry photo that wasn't Bigfoot or aliens?
Yeah, Kate Middleton is a cryptid now, apparently.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think that people for now are extremely easy to fool with AI.
Yep.
With AI-generated images, because you can even see that, like, There are a bunch of just random lines and shapes that don't have continuity in the photo.
I like the idea that he's wearing, like, instead of just the standard shorts on the on the outside, he's basically wearing booty shorts on the outside.
Yeah, like, what is that?
they're like Victoria's Secret pink shorts on the outside.
Yeah, and the logo doesn't look quite right.
The logo's pretty accurate. That's the one they're using for the film.
And the watermark is Shade of Alchemy. I guess that's the person who made it, probably.
He's kind of right, though. The guy on the left, it is basically an amorphous blob. That's not a thing.
Yeah.
And also, this guy's like taking a picture and there's no viewfinder. Like, there's no image there that he could be looking at.
Yeah, why would they be taking pictures of him anyway right now in front of a ladder?
I like it. But you know, it's good to when these things get posted, take a second look. When we talked about it the other day, we were just talking about the budget, which has been reported and then misreported. But then now, like, due to tax filings, they're saying that the budget looks accurate, that it's going to cost over $360 million to make this movie. James Gunn disputes that, says it's not accurate, but there was some tax filings for tax credits in Ohio that seem to dispute what he says, so we won't actually know. Mm-hmm. So, yeah. Okay, so we'll wait and see, but I'm not super excited about this yet. I'm going to have to wait until the first trailer, and that's a year off or several months off. Yeah.
Knowing DC.
Well, no, because it's scheduled for 2025 in July, so they will probably have a trailer by winter. Mm-hmm. Winter or end of winter.
What was the movie that Marvel changed the date for? At the same time?
Fantastic Four?
Yeah, they should just move Superman Legacy to whatever Fantastic Four.
They just keep moving
Just keep chasing them down the date. Yeah.
Scare them away. Mm-hmm. That'd be good. All right, so Bianca Censori, if you don't know, that is Kanye West's wife, not girlfriend. I almost said girlfriend. Wife. She was in the news because her dad called her out online and basically said, you need to stop dressing like a whore.
Wow, I didn't know you could say that word on YouTube.
Whore is not a slur.
Hooer?
Whore.
A hooer? Like
whore.
That? Yeah. Her dad called her out for being trashy, essentially. Page 6 reported, Bianca's father, Leo, wants to have a proper sit-down with Kanye and ask him what the hell he's thinking when he parades Bianca around like a trashy, naked trophy pony. That's an insane string of words.
It's my band name.
Trashy, naked trophy pony. He knows there's no way in hell that Kanye would allow this for his daughters, so it makes no sense why he would encourage this for his own wife. And that prompted Bianca, reportedly, to finally wear a normal outfit this is what's, considered modest and covering up for her. This is conservative by her standards. Do you think she should
probably be wearing like a skirt over the...
She's literally wearing tights as pants, not even leggings as pants, just sheer tights. But this is a big step for her.
Yeah.
In, being a normal person.
Like, she took family pictures.
So she was back home recently then.
Yeah, she went to visit the family.
Do you think they had an intervention?
I like, what does that even look like? Dad's got like a slideshow. He's like, look, you're wearing this. Can't really have you wearing this out in public.
They're Australian, so how do they pronounce whore?
Horror.
Hooah. Dressing like a hooah.
So I'm picturing like every time he sees a photo of her, he goes, "Oh no!"
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's exactly what happens every single time.
My daughter. Okay, now we're just being xenophobic.
That's very rude.
But yeah,
no,
this is good. This is,
I'm
trad if true. She's listening to her father.
I'm drinking Aussie lemonade Monster, so technically I can't be xenophobic right now.
Arnar.
Xenopharb.
Also, I saw this recent comment from Jack Antonoff, who is Taylor Swift's producer and Lana Del Rey's producer. And he threw shade at Kanye, saying he just needs his diaper changed so badly. I'm so incredibly bored when someone doesn't have the sauce anymore, so they go elsewhere to shock. It's just a remarkable waste of space.
Do you think it's that simple? Yeah. Do you think it's like the way
Kanye doesn't have the sauce anymore?
The way I picture that in his head is he pictures Kanye sitting down trying to write a song. It doesn't come out right, and he goes, "I guess I better go do something else. Might as well show my wife." Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's not that linear.
He's not as calculated about media attention as that.
I don't think. Well, I'm just saying I don't think it's that simple, and I think it's kind of reductive to see it that way. But I don't know. Like, also, I did laugh because when Taylor Swift won at like the Grammys or something, they're like, "There's Taylor Swift's handler," and it's just Jack Antonoff.
Right. Yeah. But right-wing Twitter will believe it because they don't know who Jack Antonoff is. Yeah. But look, it's just funny because they juxtapose them in these images. Which one of these two men has the sauce? I think it's Kanye.
Yeah.
If we're just looking at Jack Antonoff right now. He doesn't exactly scream sauce to me.
It's not the greatest photo of him with like his suit is literally like drooping on him, like it's sad to be on his shoulders.
Those glasses are just insanely big for his face.
So I went glasses shopping recently.
Oh, really?
I bought like prescription sunglasses because I finally got sick of driving back home and just the sun just killing my face. And
that could kill you.
All the glasses designs now are just awful. Like,
in what way? Like the wire rimmed things?
No,
they're
all like downwards. Like all the top of the rims are like slope downwards. Like nothing goes straight across like these.
Oh.
I don't know if that's hipster or what it is, but like none of them really like my face is fairly uneven anyways, so it just kind of like makes it look like your face is being drawn into a cavern.
Yeah.
I wasn't a fan, and like oddly enough, the more expensive they got, because I was like, okay, I don't really want to spend a bunch of money. Like the more expensive they got, the uglier they got. So I just bought the cheap, like the same ones I would have bought 5 years ago. I just bought a pair, and like I'm still waiting for them to.
Oh, okay.
No, I haven't got them yet. But it's like I could not believe how ugly all of the choices were. I'm literally like picturing like, in my brain, like there's got to be like something where like you ask a person who's never drawn a pair of glasses before to just draw a pair of glasses, and I can buy them. You know, like if I take off these glasses, there should be like a version of these that look fairly similar to these, maybe a little bit different. But there was like nothing like that.
Yeah, I mean, they're all pretty hipsterish these days.
I can't stand wire rims either.
They're very Jeffrey Dahmer-esque.
I can't stand wire rim glasses.
I mean, I think they're coming back into fashion for women, but...
Not a fan. And Jack Antonoff can't pull them off either. He's not bringing him back for men, that's for damn sure.
No.
That's for damn sure.
As much as he wishes he could.
Kanye is also one of those people, though, where like because he's so like he's so bombastic that he'll kind of look like he's owning whatever he does, even if he's not sure of himself, because it comes off that way because he's so over the top. It's kind of what I like
the
about
awful
him.
grills that he's wearing.
Yeah, like, you know, like nobody else would feel comfortable doing that, but because he does, I mean, a big part of style and making something relevant is just owning what you're doing, even if it's not cool.
Remember when he would wear those blue contacts on his eyes? Just like not a serve, but when Kanye does it, everyone loves it.
He could put in the blue contacts and be in Dune. You just have to get the ones that go over the whites of your eyes too.
Yeah, it kind of freaks me out.
Yep. All right. Oh, that was another thing about the movies. I felt like the blue was less pronounced.
It was.
It was
yeah.
far. I wonder if that was.
I was having a hard time being able to tell if it was just the lighting in that shot or whether that was a Fremen.
The blue in the Fremen's eyes in the first one was far more noticeable. It was like a deeper blue.
And then obviously in the 1984 version, it was like bright blue.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. So if you are in Miami, the government wants you to know that if you're coming there for spring break, stay the hell away.
They sent a breakup text to spring breakers everywhere.
Let's watch this video. Hold, please. It's loading. Hopefully the internet's not shut down like it was earlier.
Oh, okay.
Refresh.
We need to talk.
This isn't working anymore.
And it's not us. It's you. We just want different things.
Our idea of a good time is relaxing on the beach.
Hitting up the spa. Or checking out a new restaurant.
You just want to get drunk in public and ignore laws.
Do you even remember what happened last March?
That was our breaking point, so we're breaking up with you.
And don't try to apologize and come crawling back. This isn't safe, so we're done.
And just so you know, we're serious.
This March, you can expect things like curfews, bag checks, and restricted beach access.
DUI checkpoints, $100 parking, and strong police enforcement for drug possession and violence.
Whatever it takes, because it's time to move on.
Maybe we can talk when you're done with your spring break phase, but until then.
We're spring breaking up.
That would have been too complicated for the target audience.
Yes. Okay. Look, that is what happens over spring break, and it's a rite of passage.
Well, where else are they gonna go? Atlanta?
Yeah, or Virginia Beach.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Like
New Jersey.
Go to the Jersey Shore.
The Jersey Shore.
Look, it's
Is Jersey Shore gonna come back?
As far as I'm concerned,
break
it is your
location?
constitutional right as a dumb college kid to go somewhere and act like a stupid heathen for a couple of days.
I don't know. After seeing that brawl at the Six Flags in Atlanta, I'm definitely pro whatever this is.
Did you see the video of like the lady on the beach in like Bangladesh? And she's like on the beach and she's filming herself, and then she turns the camera around and like everybody's staring at her.
Everybody meaning a bunch of Bangladeshi men who are about to pounce on her.
And well, they're like, it's like they're looking at her like they've never seen anything like it before, because most of them probably have not seen a white Western woman on a beach there somewhere. And then like people were in the comments arguing about it, and people were actually like mad at them for like, they're like, it's creepy the way they're looking at her. Like, you don't understand. She just showed up and is ignoring their customs, and they're like kind of shocked and weirded out. Hence their reaction.
I guess I see both sides of that. I think we'll get into that more tomorrow. We're talking about some influencers that went to India, but you know,
this wasn't even the same. Yeah,
you shouldn't probably go to those countries because it's extremely dangerous.
Yeah,
but at the same time, they were being creepy. When, at least if we're talking about the same video, I think they were being creepy.
So I guess does Miami Beach just lose out on tourism then? Like, they're just not going to make the money they normally would?
Like, have you ever seen propaganda from a city being like, do not give us money. We do not want your tourist money. I've never seen something like that before.
They're like, look, we're good.
They took it too far.
We don't need your money. We're fine. Like, basically, the idea is like all of the cleanup costs, the repairs, the skipped out on hotel bills, 10 people to a hotel room. It's not worth it anymore. We're going to have to go our separate ways.
I mean, the violence, the public indecency, the public drunkenness, drunk driving, it must be insane to live there during that period of time.
Yeah.
I wonder how many people are going to listen, though.
I mean, not much different than going, like, or imagine, like...
You need to crack down on crime, okay? In order to make people stop doing crimes, you actually need to enforce the law. So, seems like they've learned their lesson the hard way.
they'll have to make up for it next time. It's and the locals will I mean, maybe a lot of the local businesses won't be happy because they're going to lose out on money, but like,
I think they'll be fine.
The residents will be like, yes, this is good.
Yeah.
All right, you're gonna have to go and tell everybody what the hell is going on with this, because Leo takes the L and then takes the W right after.
A 22-year-old Dutch Playboy model named Heike Konings is talking to the media right now because she rejected Leonardo DiCaprio at a nightclub in LA and was very shocked and offended that he took another girl home immediately after she rejected him.
It's this woman?
Yeah, so her name is Heike Konings. She sounds like an IKEA furniture item because she's Dutch. And it says this was in a secret club in LA, one that you can only get into by invitation.
I like the idea of it being called Secret Club.
It's just called the Secret Club, and you have to know the password.
I like the idea that it's like there's a regular club called Secret Club, but the Secret Club is inside Secret Club, but only certain people in Secret Club know how to get in.
It's also just insane that she was telling this whole story to Playboy. Like, it's generally not cool in the industry to talk shit about people that like talk about private situations and make them public and air your dirty laundry like this. But yeah, she said, I saw him sitting there in his black hoodie and black cap, and we made eye contact. And then he sent his manager to go fetch her and invite her to his private table. So then she says she put the moves on him, and they started kissing and canoodling, as I like to put it. She said, we kissed for a while. Then he asked me to come home with him. I said no. He reacted very shocked. Of course, he wasn't used to it. I would guess that Leonardo DiCaprio is not used to facing rejection from 22-year-old models at nightclubs, so fair enough. And she said, when I said I didn't know him well enough, he responded sweetly, I respect that. Whereupon he turned to another girl and took her home instead. Immediately took no for an answer. Because I think what she was expecting is for him to persist, and it was almost like an ego game. Yeah. Where if she says no at first, like she has any self-respect, that would just be LARPing as having self-respect anyway. Then, then she would feel more desirable if you were like, no, I mean it. Like, I really like you. You're so mature for your age. You're so mature for a 22-year-old that hangs out at LA nightclubs. But a source told Page 6 that this story is an amalgamation of other false stories and clearly an approach for clicks and publicity.
I do like the idea, however, that if the second girl had said no, that it might have actually sent him into some type of weird psychosis.
Yeah, like rejection-induced psychosis.
1 is fine. 2 is getting a little bit uncomfortable. What the hell is going on here?
2 would, like send him into a mental breakdown, for sure, a mentee B. But yeah, she says that she went home and ate McDonald's and called her mom about it.
Again,
instead.
More women posting their L's.
Yeah, men wouldn't tell a story like this.
I will say that if this was a dude telling the story, he went up to some famous model, he would then pretend, like if she says no, even if she's not a model, even if she's a regular girl, he would say she was totally into me, but like, she had to go. Like he would obfuscate what actually happened. He wouldn't actually share the L. He would fake it.
It's not quite as bad of an L because he did proposition her. Like he was interested and she did say no. But I think she was saying no in like a playful way, but then wants to play it off like she actually meant to reject him. Yeah. In the retrospective story. But yeah, she said that she thinks he's too weird and too old for her. Yeah. She's 22, he's 49, right? Yeah. Which is interesting because I don't think anyone has told Leo that he's too old for them. He's the one that usually gets to say, you're too old for me. Yep. But she turned the tables on him.
Look at Al Pacino.
She said, I've heard...
Look at Al Pacino in Nor Al-Fallah. Like, he's going to be able to do this until he's dead.
Yeah, definitely. That's just... There's an endless supply of women hoping to hook up with Leonardo DiCaprio and then have paparazzi pictures taken of them together, and it boosts their career. I mean, it would boost her career if she took up the request. So... I guess good on her for not needing
not necessarily
the publicity, but
if it's a one night stand. I don't know if this does anything for her career. Like if
you see where it goes, if you're willing to go to a coffee shop together the next day. But yeah, she said she heard from other girls that Leonardo DiCaprio could be very strange. For example, one friend said that he kept his earphones in during sex because he didn't want to hear her. And another said he even put a pillow over her head. And that was actually a real headline. I remember that coming out where he like wears noise canceling headphones during sex. And I'm like, what on earth is he listening to? Is it just like ambient rain sounds? Is it lo-fi beats to study and chill to?
A funnier story is that there's just one lady whose voice was so awful.
It was that.
He just had to put her. He's like, and he puts the AirPods on. And he's like, no.
No, but he like plays a Jordan Peterson podcast.
Like he's got a pillow of Kate Winslet from Titanic that he puts over their face.
Kate Winslet, if you put her on a throw pillow, she always stays the same age.
She's the same age. She looks just like she did when Titanic came out in 1997.
Yeah. So she concluded that he's too weird and too old. I would think he's too weird, but not too old for her.
49 and 22 for her. No, I'm sure if it was a different 49-year-old guy who was of the same social status, who put in a little bit more effort, she would be more than okay with
More than happy to oblige.
I love the idea that there's hopefully someday somebody will write a book like where they gather all of the women willing to like tell of these exploits and they make like a coffee table book about weird Leo stuff.
I'm sure there's plenty of it.
Women would buy the crap out of that.
But they would want to stay anonymous.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Well, then it's just going to turn into a weird creative writing experiment where a bunch of people will be like, yeah, I did it. And he had a sex swing and it was on the back of a fake Titanic that was built in the back of his condo.
There's a fake iceberg.
There's a fake, and every time he comes, he says, iceberg, right ahead. Like, that's exactly what
he likes putting on dry ice.
Yes.
And he has a bed that's shaped like a door.
Yeah, that's and as he's doing it, like the theme from Titanic starts to swell in the background, and Celine Dion comes just as everything's culminating. That's exactly what would happen. Yeah, I'm right in the chat. The Legends of Leo.
Yeah, Clay Travis said, I think Leo is pulling a Derek Jeter, totally focused on his job for now and not serious with girls at all, but will eventually marry a supermodel and have a bunch of kids.
I mean, they did say that
you
about...
You think so?
I mean, that's what happened to George Clooney. He eventually settled down.
At what age, though?
Late.
Right?
Around this age, right? So, somebody can check me if I'm wrong. He was older. Mm-hmm. He was definitely in his either his early 40s or late 40s. I think he was older. I don't think he was in his 30s.
But Amal Clooney, she's in her 30s or 40s, right?
Yes. I think she's younger than him by like 10 or 15 years.
For him, or for Leo, getting with, like, marrying a woman who's 15 years younger than him, that's a big, like, that's actually a very small age gap for Leo's taste, historically. But it's fine because
he's a meme now. He's a meme. My favorite is still the one where it's a guy and he's going through the different weights at the gym, and it's like 40, 20, and he rolls right past it to 17.5 and says Leo.
Has he really even gone that low?
No, I don't think
no one hates on Jerry Seinfeld, and he literally dated a high schooler publicly.
There was also that family that gave their daughter like a birthday cake that said, congratulations, you're too old for Leo, like when she turned 26.
Yeah, remember his recent GF, what is her name? Vittoria Coretti?
Sounds right.
Another model, and she said that her father told her to, like, be careful because he has a track record. Yep. She didn't listen, of course.
They're saying Clooney was 52. Yeah, that sounds right. Like he was older. He was on the older side. He was around the age that Leo is now.
Leo's only got a few years left before he perceives that he must settle down. And he's hooking up with as many Dutch models as humanly possible.
He's got like a calendar with a picture of Clooney on his 52nd birthday.
Right.
It's like he's like, I've got my 52-year plan. I got to get it all done before this.
He could get it done on house arrest, honestly.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, good for him. Do you like? I do think it's a bit of a hilarious story to be like, yeah, all right, that's great. You Come with me.
Pretty cringy though for her to out this story because it's like she's like, it's his loss. I'm a treasure.
Andrina says Clooney is 62 now and Amal is 46.
Okay, yeah, I just don't see Leo getting with a woman in her 40s in the future, even if it's marriage. You know,
we'll have to wait.
I don't really predict that, but we'll have to see.
All right, let's go ahead and do cringe and cute of the day. What would you like to see first?
Let's see cringe first.
All right, let's do that first. Yeah, you found cringe of the day today. Do you want to tell everybody what the hell this is?
It's a Chick-fil-A employee doing the best job she possibly can.
Okay.
No, I want a small sweet tea, ma'am.
You should really try the mango passion fruit seasonal beverage. It's half sweet tea, half lemonade.
Hurry up for Ben.
I mean, everyone was saying it's probably her friend recording her, but
could be.
That's customer service.
Those Chick-fil-A workers go above and beyond.
They really do.
I tell you, they really do. So one of my favorite video series is this video series of this guy where he pretends to be a Chick-fil-A worker working out to be an employee at Chick-fil-A.
Oh, I love those.
So a guy is like driving with a bag. It says, POV, you forgot your Chick-fil-A sauce. And the guy's running after the car with the sauce. He's like, stop.
It's harder than the police academy.
Yes, it's way harder. Mm-hmm. Also, did you see these? Unfortunately, we've got more of these videos.
The freckle tattoos.
Oh boy. Just no. You don't need to do that.
Let me see this.
You don't need to do that, guys. I think that the music is copyrighted, so we got to be careful there.
This is a tattoo artist that only does freckle tattoos.
We're gonna have to refresh. Hopefully nothing untoward comes up on screen.
Me on my phone anytime.
It obviously is gonna look pretty bad when they're fresh, but hopefully they'll fade. I mean, they'll fade, and it's like, you know, supposed to be harder to notice. And
maybe I'm just a guy, but I always imagine that if you were to do something like this, as stupid as it is, you'd keep it to like the region under the eyes and below and above the top of the mouth.
Yeah.
Like the idea
why is the forehead?
Putting them in the forehead is insane to me.
Yeah. Also, every time that these videos come up, people who grew up with freckles are like, I was bullied for having freckles. How dare you appropriate my culture?
It's like when people are like, oh, like who wear fake glasses. I'm like, would you wear a fake hearing aid?
It's a disability.
It's a disability, don't you know? All right, let's go ahead and do cute of the day then. We got a couple here. This one here is from Lady Stephanie. Says, ordered some blackout supplies after a freak storm knocked out our power a few weeks back. The little one curled up in the box that came in it. Look at that.
Aww.
So,
cats in their boxes.
I called Bucko the wrong name the other day, and he looked.
What do you mean? What did you call him?
Not important, okay? And he looked.
You called him a slur.
I did, and he looked so offended.
He knew.
He knew.
If any cat is sentient, it's him.
And he wouldn't let me take. Like normally, I come in the morning to go to work, and he's curled up somewhere, looking adorable. And sometimes I want to take a photo so I can post it. And he was so offended, he got up and walked away and wouldn't let me take a photo.
As he should have.
I usually walk in, I go, hello, Bocus, you are looking quite regal today. Hello, Bocus, you are looking quite dignified today. I give him a compliment every day when I come in. This day, he was not having it.
Yeah.
He's not having it.
Understandable.
All right, one more here. This one is from Cora Nelson. This is Bear, the sweetest and second most snuggly cat to ever exist. His sister is the first. He recently left us at the ripe old age of 16, but leaves behind memories of his surprisingly photogenic adorableness.
R.I.P.
R.I.P. All right.
Looks kind of scary, but I'm sure that he was a sweetie.
Very much so.
Yeah.
All right. Let's go ahead and get started then, shall we? Now that we are 39 minutes into the show. Mary, why don't you tell us what's going on with the Dune casting?
Yeah, a lot of people on Twitter are mad at the casting in Dune 2, saying that it totally ruined their suspension of disbelief. They're mad that Timothée Chalamet is an action star who essentially looks like a little boy. And they're mad that Zendaya is not nearly as attractive as the woman who played Shami in the 1984 version of Dune. So I saw some pretty scathing tweets. One said, such a disgusting visage. How am I to believe I have no idea how to pronounce these names, by the way. The Kwisatz Haderach would not only accept this creature, but fall madly in love with her to the point he leaves the golden path to his descendants. Suspension of disbelief destroyed, movie ruined.
I'm going to put this on screen and say this is the most unfair screenshot in the history of screenshots.
It is. I mean, you're sitting in the front row in the theater, and this is the perspective that you're going to get of Zendaya.
It's trying to give like a Bruce Campbell chin, and it's not really it's not an accurate representation.
You can definitely see her nose hairs from that angle, things that you don't want to see.
Yeah.
But, you know, aside from just the angle or like one unflattering screen cap, she's meant to look kind of war-torn and haggard in the movie. That makes sense for the character in the story, right?
I don't think that there's anything wrong with her appearance in the story. I just think that she's very bland in one note, and she brings nothing really all that much to the character. Like I said, we did talk about it a little bit. The one line in the whole movie that I felt was the most awful line was her time when she says, the prophecy is how they enslave us, because she sounds like a 12-year-old. Right? She sounds very, like, it doesn't sound good. And for the most part, Zendaya as an actress is fairly one note, but I don't think that has anything to do with her appearance.
I don't know if it's Zendaya as an actress, because the last time that I watched her in anything was Shake It Up on Disney Channel. So I don't know about her acting skills, but I thought that character, whether it was different from the books or not, was not very likable.
And there's no reason for Chalamet to look different because the character's young in the source material.
How old is
16 or 17 from in the novels? I believe 16 or 17. I haven't read them, but the point is
he's 28 in real life, but he doesn't look,
which is fine.
His age.
Like I don't think that that's woke casting. I think that the casting is perfectly fine.
Here's what someone said about Timothée Chalamet's casting with an extremely baby girl energy photo of him. They said, "Can I just tell the truth here? The fact is, a scrawny little man running across a battlefield besting grown men is as unbelievable as a scrawny little woman doing the same. All my men reading this, I ask you, is this a leader of men or a cabin boy?"
It's about the fact that there's a prophecy behind him.
Well, they're saying this is the same thing as girl boss casting, right?
It's not.
Like Natalie Portman and Thor, or Daisy Ridley as Rey. It doesn't make sense that someone so physically unintimidating could
I think you
win
defer.
in fights.
I think you defer to the fans of the source material and things like this, and the fans of the source material outside of what they call the girl bossification of her character seem to find that most of the film, the casting is good, the accuracy with the source material is good, other than in certain places. I think that this is looking for something where there isn't anything.
His character definitely didn't act feminine.
No.
Right?
No,
Like
not at all.
It wasn't showing through in the storytelling.
No.
It's just the way that he looks. Also, he was like a privileged royal Nepo baby, right? So he was only trained in fighting. He didn't actually have fighting experience. It makes sense that he wouldn't be this huge, like, brawny dude, and that's how he's written, right?
Yeah.
That's why they call him after the desert mouse.
So it's like, I just find that a lot of this is like, these are the side effects of the culture war, where you look for the problems where there might not actually be anything there. And again, you can call me biased, but I liked the movie. I like Villeneuve as a director. I like the direction in this film. I think that there's perfectly good performances from Chalamet. I didn't think much of Zendaya's performance, but that's because to me, it comes across as extremely one note and predictable, because that's where they diverged so much from the source material that it felt very Hollywood to push her character in this direction. But it's with a purpose, right? Because it's leading into Dune Messiah, where it's going to come back around. So I don't really have a problem with that. I do find it kind of interesting how nowadays you have to have this discussion with every single movie that comes up. We talked about how, like, people were calling Madam Web woke. I go, what? It's just a bad movie.
No,
it's just a bad movie.
Woke.
It's like for a movie with a whole bunch of women, it wasn't girl boss. It was just a bad movie.
Yeah. I mean, the Dune purists are saying that Shani was, or is it Shami? I don't know how to say it. She was more deferential to Paul in the books. I have no idea because I didn't read them. But in the movie, she's resisting him every step of the way. And she seems to be one of the only people, like one of the only Fremen who doesn't believe him to be a deity by the end of the movie. Which was like interesting because he kind of comes across as like an antichrist figure.
Yeah.
And I still don't understand this might be explained in the next part, but I still don't understand why he drank the worm piss. What was it called? The water of life.
Water of life.
Yeah, I have no idea what led to him making the decision to go to the South and then drink the water of life when he had been resisting his mother's...
See all possible futures. And so, like...
Okay, but that was never shown, like, why he decided to do that, because he had been resisting his mother's advice to do so the entire movie until that point.
And then when it comes to casting, then people were also making it about race because of the scene at the end with Florence Pugh, where there was like memes going around that says like he'll reject you and marry a white woman. I'm not kidding you; those memes were going around. Yeah.
Okay, but Florence Pugh isn't exactly va va voom in comparison to Zendaya. They're about equal in attractiveness, I would say.
The again, I'm loath to be one of those people. It's like when you have to talk about people calling
mid discourse.
Like it's like I joke and make fun of Florence Pugh's titties, but that's like a joke, right? I'm not saying anything about her physical appearance, whatever. I do find that I do imagine that most of the men who are like, oh, she's so mid. I'm like, yeah, but is she really to you?
Disgraced?
To you and I, the normie dregs of society? Is this beautiful Hollywood woman really mid?
No, but I mean, if you had a team of people dedicated to making you look hot and stylish 24/7 and make you look attractive on red carpets, that's a lot different than a normal person. So I do think that Zendaya is attractive, but they did their best to work against that in the movie, at least. Disgraced propaganda said Chalamet is a twink, Zendaya is ugly, Christopher Walken is Christopher Walken. Watching them pretend to have emotions felt like watching a middle school production of Titanic. I've never seen such cultural cuckery. Dissidents convincing themselves this is a good movie because it has a dubstep soundtrack and spaceships blowing up. It's a boring, stale, white savior narrative designed to excite libtard dorks the world over. Sad. Thoughts on that?
To each their own, I guess. I disagree with him. But again, I'm also fair. It's also fair to point that, to me, structure and design of shots and stuff like that stuff matters to me. And the beauty of the film matters to me. So visually, I liked the movie enough that even with a substandard story, I still probably would have enjoyed it on a visual scale, the work of Greg Fraser and stuff like that, fine. But if you're looking for a movie that seems to have united critics and fans, this seems to be the one that has put critics in the high 90s, and I believe fans are in the 90s as far as their ratings for this film. You could make the argument that people are just doing this to be contrary. These types of things are just being done to be contrary. I don't like that the same way I don't like labeling somebody as a grifter. I can't know what someone's intentions truly are. Perhaps they do see it this way. Perhaps it's just colored by their life experience. To each their own. You're allowed to interpret a movie however you want.
They seem to think that this casting choice, especially for Zendaya as Paul's love interest, is actually intended to shift men's tastes in women. One said, Sean Young in the original 1984 Dune as Shani was beautiful, elegant, aristocratic, and unforgettable. Zendaya in the Dune remake in the same role looks like she just crossed America's southern border. They do this to humiliate you.
No.
You don't think that there's a concerted effort? I mean, I definitely noticed there's a concerted effort.
Well, we're getting into more than the last topic. No, in this movie, first of all, this is a big budget blockbuster. There are only so many actors that are going to fit that description of what is going to pass for an action star or a movie star today. Timothée Chalamet, Zendaya, Florence Pugh. That is your next generation of movie stars. You may not like that, and that's fine. Like, you may not like the people that they're putting in front of them. And there's definitely like there was a thing going around of him, a thing going around of not Aaron Taylor Johnson,
Austin Butler.
No, the other not Austin
Jacob
Butler.
Elordi.
Jacob Elordi. Who's the other one? The one from the Bear.
Oh, Jeremy Allen White.
And they're basically saying like it's never been a better time to be a weird looking white dude in a foreign land. Fine, whatever. That's what's in right now. That's what they're selling you right now. But at the blockbuster level, there's only so many names you're going to attach to. Like I said, I could pick 10 actors out of a hat on television that could give just as good of performances, but they're not going to draw the same box office.
Yeah, definitely. Like, in terms of marketability alone, I totally understand the choice to cast Zendaya because, you know, she's Gen Z, she's trendy, she's a former Disney kid.
And
it's easy to get people to come to your movie just because she's in it.
And I understand that, look, the age of the blockbuster action hero is gone. Like the age of the Tom Cruise, right? The actual actor that pulls you to the theaters. But social media presence matters too. We've had stories about actors who talk about they wanted to get hired for roles and they said your social media presence isn't big enough to be hired for this role. So that matters too. Your public visibility matters. She's coming off of Spider-Man. Right? Not just Euphoria, but the Spider-Man series, where she is a very, very big name. She's dating somebody who is essentially a stand-in for he's just another Timothée Chalamet. He's like the more advanced Timothée Chalamet in Tom Holland.
I think Timothée Chalamet is more attractive in the face than Tom Holland.
But they're cut from the same cloth.
Sure.
Right?
I get it.
I just think that these things are far more detailed and complicated than just saying, than the bunch of evil people around it perpetually burning flames saying we are going to change the public's perception. Like maybe that's happening. Maybe it is. I'm just saying that there's a whole lot of business that goes into making these things too, all of which aren't as conspiratorial.
Yeah, I would say it's a mix of both.
Exactly.
Right.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Unfortunately, the truth of the matter is usually a lot more mundane and a lot more muddled. So it's a lot harder to sell the public on that, especially if you're trying to draw an audience that's going to be very willing to listen to you because you're speaking their language already. I just think that most of the time, if you're being honest with yourself, these things are just a lot more complicated. So let's go to Super Chats.
Shane H. Wilder said, "Happy Taco Tuesday, Brett and Mary. Excellent job on the New Nation podcast, Mary. When you weren't back yesterday, I told Mike to follow the trail of Zin cans to the nearest Taco Bell to retrieve you."
Did you? What was your
source,
favorite thing that you talked about on there?
I don't know. We kind of meandered a lot. It was just kind of stream of consciousness. We got into Cabrini a little bit because he got an early screening of it. Talked about Shia LaBeouf. We talked about Kanye a little bit. It was just fun. I don't know. Bucky Ducky said, "Welcome back, Brett. How was your break?"
It was great.
Your break from Mary.
Yeah.
It was just great until it was over this morning.
There's somebody in the chat says it's called DEI. Zendaya has got a public profile that has nothing to do with that. She has proved herself a commodity in the industry.
Sure. But if it were Ayo Edebiri, then you would say...
If this was somebody that nobody's heard of, that's a different thing.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah. DCNC said, "Tisk tisk, Mary's generation, all part-timers." At this point, that's fair. Tacti Platy.
Somebody says no Shia bullying. That makes me think, was Shia LaBeouf really all that more manly than like a Timothée Chalamet and them? When
he was as young as Timothée Chalamet?
The original panicky male lead in Transformers?
Just physically more masculine, yes. More
wide, literally wider.
Literally wider,
yeah.
and
not so skinny.
Higher T.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
Less aristocratic, less of a twink, for sure.
But that works for his character.
Yeah, it does.
For Paul Atreides, that works.
I don't have any problem with Timothée Chalamet's casting, but Zendaya definitely was looking rough in the movie. But that's intentional.
It's almost as if you were traveling across desert lands. You would look rough. Well...
Yeah.
But believe it or not, Javier Bardem is a pretty good-looking older dude too, and he looked pretty rough as well.
I mean, rough as in, she definitely has looked better in other roles.
And I think it also speaks to meritocracy, because nobody's complaining about Rebecca Ferguson, because Rebecca Ferguson is good at her job and she's beautiful.
Oh, the mother?
The mother, yes.
Okay.
So nobody's complaining about that because she's great.
She was great at acting schizo.
She does. I think she's actually probably my favorite character in the whole series, because she becomes more formidable and a lot more you start to question her more as the movie goes on, and you can see her motives start to appear, and it's better. It's good. So
Tacti Platy said, "I'll chauffeur you two to the movie."
Wait, what? Oh,
to see the People's Joker.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm willing to make a trek that far out to see it, but hopefully it'll get huge returns on the limited release, and then it'll get a wider release. You can dream.
They could have done. Somebody says Jenna Ortega over Zendaya over Zegler. Yeah, they could have gotten Jenna Ortega for that role.
Well, back in when did the first one come out?
2021.
Wasn't that before Jenna Ortega was known as much? She was more Netflix famous at that point. If they were casting in 2019, they wouldn't have found her, right? Corey Anderson said, YouTube won't let me call this person an ugly woman while referencing them as a non-woman. The Vera Drew?
I guess I'm not
the
like
filmmaker?
super chats are not showing up for me on my end, so you're gonna have to be
Okay.
in charge of that one today. All right, let's move on. Let's talk about what's going on with Diddy. This is getting far more complex.
Yeah, when we initially reported on this Diddy lawsuit, it just seemed very convoluted and difficult to decode, but I've seen that this story is gaining more and more traction over the last few days and over the weekend. So I decided it would be best for us to revisit it because the details are getting more and more disturbing, and I feel like the media coverage didn't fully articulate a lot of these stories. So basically, to recap, this is a 73-page lawsuit that was filed by Rodney Jones, who was a producer for P. Diddy's Love album from 2022 to 2023. And all of the things that he is accounting in this lawsuit were that recent. So it's not like we're bringing things up from the 90s or the 2000s or even the 2010s. This is all recent stuff. So not only did this producer allege that he was the victim of sexual misconduct, but he made it much more broad and basically said that P. Diddy was running a RICO enterprise out of his Miami home, trafficking in guns, in drugs, and procuring prostitutes, some of them underage, and engaging in a lot of sexual misconduct, basically, through this whole power structure that he's built around himself. And it just gets deeper and deeper. So essentially, people are calling him the Jeffrey Epstein of the music industry, or at least the rap industry, the rap world, because it's an open question that we're not going to answer today because we're just, basing this off of what information is available to us. It's an open question how much of the entertainment industry and politics and every industry is hinging upon a network of sexual blackmail leverage, basically.
Yeah.
And it seems like if that is the case in the music industry, P. Diddy and his associates are the ones controlling it. And you can either be complicit in the sexual blackmail network and you will be rewarded for it in your career and you will be at the top of the charts. And if you opt out, you will be blacklisted or you will be pushed out of the music industry.
Seems like it's not even just like, it's not him at the top. It's even deeper than that. It's like the record labels at the top and the people in charge of financing everything.
And the executives of these music labels who often are not famous and are not known by name. They are not household names like P. Diddy. So for instance, one of the people implicated in this lawsuit is Lucian Grange, who is the CEO of Universal Music Group. And it noted that Lucian Grange was also at these parties where it was known by everyone there that they were spiking drinks, that they were inviting underage prostitutes, both male and female.
But somebody also, like a woman came out recently, there was like the picture in that lawsuit that said this woman's underage, and that woman has since come out and said that this is her and I was not underage when this was taken.
Well, if it's just an individual photo, that's accompanying what they claim is over 100 hours of video footage proving illegal activity by P. Diddy. And I don't think that Rodney Jones's lawyer would claim they have over 100 hours of footage proving illegal conduct if they didn't at least have some. There are crime scene photos, essentially. There are videos from inside P. Diddy's home, inside these studios. So there's definitely something to this lawsuit. Whether or not the entire thing is credible, we don't know. But this influencer named Ian Carroll, he goes by Cancel This Clothing Company on Twitter. He's been making a ton of deep dive videos about the lawsuit and going into the documents. And he said the Diddy lawsuit is exposing the Jeffrey Epstein of the music industry. This goes back before most of us were born, goes all the way up to the intelligence agencies, directly alleges whole houses wired with hidden cameras, hosting parties with underage girls, spiked drinks, and more. Cat Williams said everything would come out in 2024. This sure looks like the first pin has dropped. And I watched through that video. He essentially said that it's alleged P. Diddy's entire home has hidden cameras in it. just as a Jeffrey Epstein-style blackmail honeypot. So anyone who is invited to these parties, which he referred to as freak-offs,
TM, trademark,
would be criminally implicated in what is going on in that room. Therefore, they have to comply with the demands of P. Diddy and other executives who are there, who are running the whole thing.
Yeah.
So this says Sean Combs is accused of trafficking underage women. This lawsuit also claims that Diddy's girlfriend, Young Miami, is complicit in the trafficking and allegedly sexually assaulted the producer Rodney Jones with her cousin. Their photos are listed below. Diddy is allegedly recordings of music executives, top athletes, politicians, etc. In these recordings, Diddy has alleged compromising sexual videos of many people taken without consent. Producer Stevie J was listed, and there are other unnamed people in the music industry.
The crazy thing is, like, when you really think about it, like, does this end up going the same way as like what happened with Epstein and Maxwell, where it's like, say like a couple years from now, he gets prosecuted, he goes to jail, and then no clients, no nothing comes out. It's just he was trafficking to nobody because nobody else will be named.
Epstein and his client list and it being on this private island and who knows what's going on there, the stakes are higher because we're talking about world leaders.
Yeah.
In this situation, it seems like a smaller scale blackmail operation on people in the entertainment industry, not so much politicians.
I mean, but a lot of those politicians would have rubbed elbows with all of these entertainers. There was like the thing where they show like it's all the people Barack Obama has given like the Presidential Medal of Freedom to, and it's like when you really think about it, how many? It's like 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon.
Mm-hmm.
How far away are each of these people that will be accused of these things from some world leader or some politician who has some say in the way that your tax money is spent?
Mm-hmm. And further evidence supporting the idea that P. Diddy is an equivalent of Epstein in the music industry is that he has his own Ghislaine Maxwell. It's his chief of staff, and I was literally stalking her on LinkedIn earlier. Her name is Christina Karam. This is Diddy's chief of staff, who Rodney Jones alleges in his lawsuit procured sex workers for P. Diddy and would instruct her staff to lace alcohol with ecstasy and other illicit drugs, and required all employees, from the butler, the chef, to the housekeepers, to walk around with a pouch or a fanny pack filled with cocaine, GHB, ecstasy, and other drugs. I guess in case Diddy just came across one of them and wanted a bump. Karam has not responded to request for comment. But it sounds like, you know, since she's implicated in this lawsuit, she could also end up on trial for this.
There's a $20 super chat here from Alphonse. Says, I'm a bit late, just got to the People's Joker. How did Bob Odenkirk go from Better Call Saul and Nobody to this? From Breaking Bad, Better Call Saul and Nobody to this? To quote the Joker, I'd laugh if it weren't so pathetic. Oh, what the heck? I'll laugh anyways.
I am curious, like, what his part is.
Doing a favor to somebody.
Maybe, I don't know.
Like
it's actually part of the blackmail operation.
Yeah.
Also,
he points out in the video, he goes, my guess is P. Diddy doesn't know how to set up secure like hidden cameras in all the rooms of his house. People had to be in on this. Good point.
Yeah, there are a lot of moving parts and a lot of powerful people involved, and most of them probably aren't named yet. And another thing, here's this interesting detail. P. Diddy has hired the same lawyer that defended Ghislaine Maxwell in defense for his 2003 rape case. Now, that is not the lawsuit in question. That's for the rape case that we talked about months ago, right?
Correct.
And I forget what that woman's name was. Was she anonymous or did she come forward?
Anonymous, but a judge just recently ruled that they have to come forward.
Okay.
For the case to go forward.
Yeah. And then another thing to raise some eyebrows about is Meek Mill was recently involved in a car accident, and he was one of the people that was allegedly hinted at in this lawsuit document as having done homosexual acts with P. Diddy and these male sex workers in this blackmail operation. He posted on his Instagram story, because he just got this new car and crashed it. He said, the GMC whole brake pedal slipped off my first time driving. And someone said, does Meek Mill not understand how sabotage and witness silencing tactics work? Hello?
That gets the conspiracy
Definitely
brain
shady.
tingling. It does.
And then also, a lot of people have theorized over the years that P. Diddy was responsible for putting a hit out on Tupac.
Yep. Which P has been asked about several times, and he always deflects and says, we're not going to address the nonsense. That's a ridiculous question.
Is that what he said on Breakfast Club, I think? Yeah. So he definitely, whether he had anything to do with Tupac's death or not, he benefited from it because there was a power vacuum that opened up for him in the rap industry after Tupac died.
That was the age I grew up in, right? And it was crazy to watch all of that happen. And as somebody who grew up loving Tupac and Biggie, and obviously being kind of disconnected from that world, growing up in the suburbs of the Midwest, very, very different, right? But like you see to what he rose to become afterwards. In a lot of ways, it's funny because I was reading about Master P, the rapper Master P, and the empire that he built for himself afterwards. And it's kind of, you're right, it's like a power vacuum for them. So to see all that come to fruition, the world would look very different if they hadn't died.
Mm-hmm.
And certainly he would be famous, but I don't know if he would be the business powerhouse that he is today, if not for those incidents.
And that's to say nothing of whether he was responsible for Tupac's death, but the objective truth is he benefited from it in some indirect way.
One of the other things that he mentions in that video, the influencer, he talks about how all of the documents and the articles that have been written about the CIA's involvement with rap music and the desire to push criminality through the lyrics as a way of filling private prisons. Like there's endless tendrils of this that could be done, individual videos on all of this stuff. They reference NWA in that and stuff like that. All
like
these
literally
things.
the theory, as it came from a former CIA operative, they said that the CIA was involved in writing the lyrics for NWA in order to create a different culture for Black people and enrich private prisons. By enforcing and promoting criminality through these lyrics.
Remember when we talked about, the last time we talked about when Creed was going back on tour, and they mentioned that the last time a rock song was the #1 on Billboard was like 2001.
Wow.
And like, I don't remember if that was the exact, they said it was like that, the 2001 was like the last time just a traditional rock song was like #1 on Billboard. I could be wrong about that, but that's what I think that they said, right? And you did see a shift away in the culture and where music went. And what radio looks like now is very different from what radio looked like 20 years ago.
Yeah. I mean, country songs, that was just last year or this year that they were on top of the charts. But overall, it does make sense that there seems to be some kind of conspiring going on at the top of the music industry. And then, I mean, this is just going deeper and deeper. Another theory is that the Diddy lawsuit opens up a whole new angle on Michael Jackson's death and life story. They pointed out that P. Diddy's head of security was hired by him right after working for Michael Jackson. And he was also the head of security for Michael Jackson and was one of the first people on the scene after Michael Jackson's death. His name is Fareem Muhammad, I believe. And they pointed out that if these blackmail operations are real, then perhaps Michael Jackson was threatening to out people for their complicity in it. And in turn, he was framed for predatory actions against children that were, allegedly totally fabricated in order to slander his name and silence him from talking about the real stuff that was going on. And maybe even the stuff that was perpetrated against him as a child star in the industry.
Do you find veracity to those claims?
I have no idea. I mean, they also cited Macaulay Culkin's side of things, and he maintains to this day that Michael Jackson never did anything to him and that he never even saw anything suggestive of predatory behavior from Michael Jackson. This brings up Macaulay Culkin's comment only back in 2020. I didn't even realize it was that recent. But yeah, he said, I'm going to begin with the line. It's not a line. It's the truth. He never did anything to me. I never saw him do anything. And especially at this flashpoint in time, I have no reason to hold anything back. The guy has passed on. If anything, I'm not going to say it would be stylish or anything like that, but right now is a good time to speak up. And if I had something to speak up about, I would totally do it. But no, I never saw anything. He never did anything. And this was in response to James Franco, who was, I believe, a producer on the Leaving Neverland documentary from HBO.
Yeah.
Is that correct? I didn't want to fact check me if I'm wrong about that, but he essentially said that he encountered James Franco on a plane, and they were like, "Oh, hey, how you doing?" And it was right after Leaving Neverland came out, and James Franco says, "So that documentary." And Macaulay Culkin just said, "Uh-huh." Silence. So then he goes, "So what do you think?" And I turn to him and I go, "Do you want to talk about your dead friend?" James Franco sheepishly went, "No, I don't." So I said, "Cool, man. It was nice to see you."
Okay. And I was right too. So it says, according to Billboard Hot 100, the last rock song classified as rock was Nickelback, "How You Remind Me," in August of 2001. Peaked at number 1. Since then, there hasn't been a rock song at number 1. Some may argue Coldplay's 2008 Viva La Vida would count, but that's pop rock. It says, what gives? How has it been 19 years and there hasn't been one rock song to reach number 1? I could have swore Green Day, Boulevard of Broken Dreams hit number 1. It does seem like there's been a concerted effort to move things away.
Okay, just fact checking myself, by the way. James Franco was not a producer on Leaving Neverland. Just saying. Also, I saw this tweet from Liz Crooked saying Oprah Winfrey embraced and propped up alleged sexual predators and pedophiles like Harvey Weinstein, Peter Nygard, and Diddy for years, all while throwing Michael Jackson under the bus. Instead of doing a documentary or project on any of these known monsters, she chose to support and promote Leaving Neverland on Michael Jackson after he died, that was littered with discrepancies and testimony from victims who had changed their story. The backlash was so bad, Oprah and HBO distanced themselves from the documentary. It sparked outrage, and Jackson's family maintained his innocence and continued support of him. And after a major discrepancy was pointed out, they changed their tunes.
Okay.
But yeah, it could be that deep that even Oprah Winfrey is involved in this expansive blackmail network. And we saw these photos of her looking like she was pawning off young women to Harvey Weinstein.
Like that photo is going to follow her the rest of her life.
Exactly. And then there were more questions raised about Justin Bieber's alleged inappropriate relationship with P. Diddy because of this lawsuit coming out. And people believe that Justin Bieber releasing that song Yummy was a reference to Pizzagate, because in a bunch of the promotional material for the song, it was written in a font that was like literally like pizza. Okay. And he kept on posting images referencing pizza. I don't know what to make of that. It's still just conjecture. But anyway, moving on to more recent events, Cat Williams on Joe Rogan Experience, he was going into some very esoteric stuff about,
he's a great interview. Like he's a natural storyteller.
Well, it's also like you can't tell when he's being serious or if he is telling the truth. It's kind of how I feel about Theo
Von half the time.
Yeah.
Like when Theo Von tells a story, I have no idea if that's actually happened to him.
Or like
if he's just
Alex Jones or Kanye West. Like you never know what tone they're trying to strike with what they're saying. But Cat Williams, when he was on Joe Rogan just a few days ago, he suggested that transgenderism originates from the demon Baphomet and that Hollywood has been pushing us toward occult themes for decades. Quote, "Show me one person that ever wore a dress in Hollywood unsuccessfully. That's how you understand what a ritual is. 20 years ago, I knew transgender was going to be a thing. I'd gotten so much information that I understood the earliest I had seen the word transgender was from Baphomet. I knew in the ritual of Baphomet, to show allegiance to him, you had to kiss his ring. I knew that both of those things would become popular. I knew that somehow calling people the goat would be normalized over the sheep being always the most popular reference." And then Rogan said propaganda in Hollywood is built into the ingredient list. If you want to make movies about certain subjects, you have to be willing to work with certain people. You become propaganda arm for the government, and in turn, they don't mess with you. I always wonder about all the stories in the Bible and whether we are experiencing it or not. And they started getting into conversations about the end times and stuff like that. And then I saw that Candace Owens posted this picture of Kid Cudi on a red carpet. I don't know how recent this is. He's at some fashion award show wearing a frilly white dress. It's almost a wedding gown and this veil on his head. And he's wearing eye makeup and holding the hands with another man. I believe this is the designer. She said, when I see demonic rituals like this done to black artists and I research who's behind it, a perverted designer that used to work for Woody Allen, I truly cannot fathom how the media has brainwashed some black Americans to believe I'm the enemy. Open your eyes. So a lot of people were saying this is exactly what Cat Williams was referencing. Mm-hmm. And it's exactly what Dave Chappelle was referencing when he was talking to Oprah Winfrey all those years ago, how for some reason black men in the entertainment industry are just really pushed hard to cross-dress. Well, and it opens doors for them, allegedly, in the industry if they are willing to humiliate themselves for clout.
And Cat Williams talk about not being willing to do that. And other celebrities have talked about not willing to do that. John Cena is literally going through this right now with this movie that he's promoting called like Nicky Snicky or whatever it is. Mm-hmm. And he's like, that's where that big that picture that came out a couple years ago of him in like the knee-high socks and in the skirt, where he's like going into his trailer. It was for that movie. And that's like, he made a fake OnlyFans where he's doing like content on there now, which is designed to make you think it's sexual stuff, but it's all kind of comedy bits. It's promotion for the movie, but it's baked right into that as well. Right. And I would say it's not just black men in the industry who are pressured to do that. Well, no, just strong masculine men in general. It's one of the things I always point out. I said, like, there's a reason why they always make the black actor the timid tech person, or they make the black woman the counselor or something like that. Like, this is baked into the formula. The social worker. I think more of that has to do with just like actually racist liberals not being afraid. Like, literally, like they've never actually interacted with somebody outside of the people in their bubble, so they don't know how to write them. Mm-hmm. Right. I think that a lot of that is there, but obviously it goes deeper into all of these other things are far deeper than that. But there's a $20 one there from Cobra Commander.
Trans messaging isn't a new thing. Look into Dr. Magnus Hirschfeld, the Jewish doctor and author who pushed homosexual and trans ideology in Berlin before a certain nationalist party gave him Das Boot. Well, I recently saw Candace Owens talking about Hirschfeld on her podcast, and she got a lot of hate for it. So I am definitely going to be looking deeper into that. And this author kind of went further and talked about Jay-Z and said it's only a matter of time before spirit cooking Jay-Z is exposed like Diddy. And there's an image of Jay-Z locking foreheads with performance artist, so-called performance artist and spirit cooker Marina Abramovic. Yep. And they said there's a reason Kanye said Jay-Z's got murderers. He's evil to the core. I pray there will be justice for Kathy White one day. The false idols will continue to fall. Mark my words. So are you aware of Kathy White? I've heard this. I don't know enough about it, but it's obviously that was the first thing people were referencing when all of this info started coming out. I don't think all of this stuff gets exposed, though. I think that these, if we operate under the premise that what is being said is true, I think these networks are too deeply ingrained in the culture. And I don't think if somebody ends up going to prison, they sacrifice one person to keep everybody else's hands clean. As has already happened in the public eye with Epstein. We know, right? So. But it is kind of a progressive ideology to believe that the arc of history bends toward justice. Yeah, it is. That's not quite right. Well, it's also very modern to imagine like the amount of people who don't understand that war is this planet's natural state, that man is kind of always at war and conflict is inevitable. Right. Yeah. And we just living in the West, living in a place like America where you're so shut off from so much of the dangers of the world, you kind of, we were talking the other day and I was kind of like, there is this idea. And I think part of it to me, it was talking more about the storytelling in Hollywood these days, or even when we're talking about casting or how people are getting paid for movies, there is a certain female obsession with the idea of fairness.
That's just not real to the real world. It's just not accurate to the real world. But there is an obsession with the idea of fairness. What's fair to you? What's fair to me? What's going to make us all equal? Or in this case, these days, it's equity. And I think a lot of what we hear talked about today is because these ideologies push that kind of idea of like what's fair.
Yeah, I've just been seeing more and more people, especially on X, talking about like how we're approaching a great awakening in society.
No.
And I'm literally like Zendaya in Dune 2. I'm like, the prophecy is what will enslave us.
We are like, look, I think that is also, most people don't realize that you and I, everyone else lives in their own bubble, and the average person isn't going out into the world to experience any of that. That's the trick, though, right? The trick is that this stuff is done right in front of you, and that everyone else will go about their day. They're going to go see a movie. They're not going to wonder whether Zendaya is changing the beauty standards subtly, right? They're not thinking that way. They're not thinking about the great replacement. They're not thinking about all this stuff. They're going to work. They're trying to pay their bills. And you can say, and you might even be right, that that is ultimately how they maintain control. Fine. But I love that saying from like that Dean Haglund of The Lone Gunman did on a podcast. He said the one thing that like any conspiracy theorist, all they really get in the end is the right to say I told you so. But then everything's still shitty.
At what cost?
At what cost is it to say I told you so? And I don't blame the average person for not knowing or caring about a lot of this stuff. Now, you got kids. You want to leave the world a better place for your kids. I understand that. That makes sense, right? But to the average person who's out there living, these people that are like dinks going to Disneyland, I don't think they're thinking about this stuff.
They're not.
I don't think that most people are. And I think that everyone's kind of guilty of letting the algorithms that control their lives keep them in a bubble. Even if you're consciously aware of all this stuff, it's our own responsibility to understand that the people who don't see the world this way fundamentally live in a different world than you now. It's why I've given up on talking to people about politics, because depending on how you talk to someone, depending on who they are, they don't live in the same world you and I do. And you could say me and you don't even live in the same world in a lot of ways. Maybe me and you more than other people because of our work gives us shared experience.
Yeah.
But even like a coworker downstairs could live in a completely different world than me. So the idea that they could hide these things, that an elite class could hide these things, isn't all that shocking to me.
Right. Yeah. Well, this is obviously grown past just the scope of a 73-page lawsuit, but I felt like all of that was really interesting, and I like going down the rabbit hole.
All right, let's go super chats.
Tacty Platty said, also love Will Terrace apartments again.
Yes, there's a. I got sent a meme earlier. I posted a meme earlier. It was an apartment complex, and it was Love Will Terrace Apartments. So like the song Love Will Tear Us Apart. I got a hearty chortle out of that one.
Chortle.
And I started singing it. Love will tear us apart again.
Let's have a Brett concert on the stream.
We should.
Yorishima Otaru said, I think the Superman pick is real after James Gunn's tweet.
It's like, I want to know then why the hell the cape is so damn small. Like, are they just gonna, is it literally, he's like, we'll fix it in post.
Yeah.
Like, I guess, like.
It's literally a tablecloth made of plastic.
Well, no, like, I imagine that, like, look, I don't know what it looks like when they're doing actual production, but I imagine that if it was like a CGI cape, wouldn't there be like a specific, would the cape be green? Would it have like the markers, you know, the ball markers to mark where it's going to move and stuff like that?
I don't like the suspension of my disbelief knowing that they green screen the capes now. I didn't want to know
Well, they don't,
that.
not for all. So they do it for Superman, but Batman used a real cape.
That's cool. Like, it should be real, I think.
Well, I think for Batman, it makes more sense for it to be real, and Superman should look more ethereal because he's an alien with superpowers.
Yeah. DCNC said, hey, my dog Aussie is pronounced Aussie. Okay, thanks. You're welcome.
Somebody says, hey, what's it say? Heavy Hebrew says, Joy Division isn't pop music. WTF? Did somebody say it was?
This is pop music.
This is pop music.
Wait, what is it then?
Not pop music.
I don't know. Shane H. Wilder said, now I want to hear Mary say Xenarfarb again.
Say it again.
Xenarfarb. That's how they say it over in Aussie land. Bucky Ducky said, absolute W from Leo. Took that no and moved on.
Yeah, man.
He's a feminist. No means no. Believe all women.
We got a couple of, we got another 20 there.
St. Miles said, I'm late to the show, but did Mary have to bless the room first before touching the mic?
Did you bring any holy water today?
What happened to the room while I was
Nothing
gone?
happened.
Is there anything I should be aware
Nothing
of?
happened
Does
in the
anyone
room.
in the chat want a tattletale on what happened on Friday?
He used some language you might not approve of for women's special parts.
Got it.
That's about it.
Okay.
Let's do one more.
Halle movie star said, Brett, check out the frames from Costa del Mar. They offer RX polarized sunglasses. Website has measurements for nose bridge of various frames, etc. You could take the risk of getting your glasses on the internet.
Yeah. No, I got.
You're not gonna really know what they look like.
I got the sunglasses I wanted. I went to get an eye exam just so I could get the actual card, so that I could go buy. I just bought a pair of Ray-Ban Wayfarers online and had them delivered. By the way, they got there in like 2 days, whereas like the glasses I bought the same day are like still not here yet. But no, it wasn't the sunglasses I needed for that I was having trouble finding. I knew exactly what I wanted from those. It was the regular glasses that I was having trouble with.
I realized when I had prescribed sunglasses, I would just wear them inside and not realize, because I needed to see far away and I didn't want to switch. You're going to start doing that soon.
Yep. All right, let's hold off on the rest and we'll come back after the fact.
Okay.
You're going to have to tell everybody about this beef between Halle Bailey and
insane.
Elijah Schaefer, which is not a combination of people I ever would have put together.
Like, first it was Robbie Starbuck versus Megan Fox, and now it is Elijah Schaefer versus Halle Bailey and her baby daddy, DDG. If you're unaware, Elijah Schaefer is a right-wing podcaster. You might know the show Slightly Offensive. And he ruffled a lot of feathers over the weekend because he tweeted a picture of Halle Bailey on a red carpet for Black Panther back in 2018. And in that photo, her eyes looked particularly far apart, which is a facial feature she has. It's no secret. And he captioned it, "When exactly did Hollywood become flooded with ugly people?"
Before we go, there's a $20 here from Bucky Ducky. Says,
okay,
I'll tell on him, Mary. He brought in those psychics while you were gone and had them speak to the dead. We were going to be sad to see you quit, but it was a good one. Have fun, whatever you move on to.
All right,
Like,
it's over. I'm out.
I'm out of here. Look,
you were like talking to podcasters from the dead.
I wonder if it's like so Mary says I can't have him on here. Can I go on their podcast? Is that
if you want?
And then,
if that's what you really want,
does
Brett.
the energy get brought back here afterwards? Do I have to go through some process to come back here after the fact?
Probably. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. We'll cross that bridge when we get to it.
When we get to it. All right.
Yeah. So Elijah Schaefer posted that, essentially implying that Halle Bailey is an example of one of the most ugly actresses that is currently being propped up in Hollywood. And personally, I disagree. I think that she's really cute. And I like that she has a unique face. There are a lot of actresses right now, especially on the younger side, who have this feature that their eyes are kind of far apart, like Anya Taylor-Joy.
She's got
Rachel Zegler also has been made fun of for it.
She has a very, very cute smile. Okay.
Do you have it pulled up right here?
There's this picture of her with Halle Berry, oddly enough.
Oh, really? Yeah. I think she's a very cute girl.
And also, we keep talking here about how everybody's starting to look the same.
I mean, it obviously her playing the Little Mermaid, being a race-swapped character who once
its own thing.
was white and redheaded, that's a whole separate conversation. But it definitely could have been worse because this girl, she is cute, she is charming in interviews, and she is talented at singing, like very much so. She has a great voice. And I disagree. Like, I think you could have pulled up a lot better examples. But this whole thing exploded because people were viciously defending Halle Bailey in response to this. And I'm sure that she's somewhere taking care of her baby and has no idea that any of this discourse happened, or at least I hope so. So here are some of the headlines. DDG, by the way, this is her baby daddy, her boyfriend, DDG, smokes the pack of racist podcasters' dead mother after he attacked Halle Bailey's looks. And also Elijah Schaefer compared Halle Bailey to E.T. DDG drags Elijah Schaefer's deceased mother for offensive comments about Halle Bailey. DGG stands up for girlfriend Halle Bailey after right-wing podcaster compares her looks to E.T. So they did, in fact, bring Elijah Schaffer's mother into the conversation, and God rest her soul. But yeah, they were posting pictures of Elijah Schaffer's late mother and insulting her appearance in response to him insulting Halle Bailey's appearance. I'm not saying that any of it is justified, but to be fair, Elijah Schaffer was the one who started the conversation. He's the one who riled people up. Yep. He has since deleted his tweets, at least as far as I can tell. He's the one who brought looks into it. You know, this is the internet. People are going to be savage. They're going to get personal with their digs when you piss them off. Especially DDG, who's talking about, like, this is the mother of my child.
Also, it's fair to point out that Twitter turns people into somebody different than they are in the real world. It really does.
It does. It's like road rage.
Yes, it is.
It's the impersonal nature of it.
People will go after you in a way they wouldn't be willing to do in other ways.
Yeah. So they posted this picture of his mother and called her ugly. And Elijah responded saying, "My mother's face was permanently disfigured from a rare form of cancer. She had 60% of her soft tissue removed and huge portions of her jaw carved out in life-saving surgeries. You're making fun of a dead mother of 4 who had life-saving facial reconstruction. Hope you feel cool." And then he got a response saying, "This is what a lot of you cowards do. Disrespect women, then play victim when your women get disrespected back. Stop it with the white fragility. Nobody knew your mom had passed. I hope she wasn't alive when you caught that SA charge." Okay, I have no idea what that's referring to. But Elijah said, "Making an untrue and defamatory legal statement online about me will be met with legal action. I've reported you to X because your accusation is illegal, and if they don't take action, you will be served. Found your residence easily and already submitted it to my legal team." And that's, I assume, the point at which Elijah deleted his original tweets.
There's a $20 one here from Gordon Shumway. Says, "Joy Division is not pop music. Technically, it's considered post-punk. But if you actually listen to all of their stuff, they sound like a primitive version of goth. The bass is primary melody, and it's a higher pitch." Did we call it pop music?
Yeah, I don't think that we referred to Joy Division.
Like, we were just referencing the meme that was the song. That was the Love Will Tear Us Apart.
Yeah.
Maybe I did.
I don't know.
I don't think I did.
Yeah. And then DDG responded with another picture of Elijah Schaffer's mother and called her the B word and said should have gotten a better doctor, and then posted a picture of himself smoking a blunt with his mother's face photoshopped on it. It's just, it's pretty low.
It's the internet.
It's pretty low behavior, definitely. And then another one said, "Why do you all come at black women and then expect people not to fight back? This is hypocritical."
Yeah.
And another one said, "Hollywood was always flooded with ugly people," meaning it's not a new trend. But I did want to get into that discussion, on broader terms, because this is often brought up, especially with Zendaya's casting in Dune 2. Is the new crop of actresses and actors in their 20s and 30s objectively worse looking than their predecessors? And is this a concerted effort from the top to change our preferences or Marxist upending of objective beauty standards as a whole?
Yeah. You first.
Me first? Well, it's interesting they brought up these other examples. They posted Bradley Cooper, who is not unattractive.
I don't, like, if you're gonna dunk on Bradley Cooper, do it because he talked about being naked in the shower with his dad.
They posted Elizabeth Olsen, who I also think is attractive.
Again, the Olsen, I disagree.
And then they posted Daniel Radcliffe.
He got famous because he looked like a book character and then held on to his fame a little
Then he went through puberty and then he was still a star. And then they posted Robert Pattinson. And I was like, okay, chill. Like, Robert Pattinson is obviously attractive.
Look at the 80s movie stars. Did you look at Bill Murray and Dan Aykroyd and think, wow, super? I guess they're comedy actors, so maybe they don't hold up to the same level of scrutiny, I guess. It's a different thing.
They even posted more examples of Maggie Gyllenhaal. She's unique looking, but I would say she still has a charm.
She's also from a famous family.
And
so,
she's an Nepo baby, obviously. Then they posted Jennifer Aniston.
She's
like, what are you talking about?
She's revered for, like, she's literally looked at as one of these women who's held on to her beauty into her 50s, right?
It's crazy.
Okay, you said a very interesting word there. Interesting looking. That matters to a lot of people. Like, it's not always about objective beauty to a lot of casting directors. There are certain actors that they're going to want. Like, there's a reason, like, you can say that Cillian Murphy is really, really handsome, sure. But more than anything, he has an interesting look.
More than anything, he's weird looking.
He's got an interesting look that plays well. And there is more to casting a role than just casting the best looking person. Now, is there an objective decision from these industries to move away from the traditionally handsome lead? I mean, you could look at someone like Tom Holland, right? Who is like, so I remember when we went to see Uncharted, I'm like, is this what passes for like an action star now? A dude who's like my height. Like, I don't want an action star.
Is he actually?
He's like 5'8". But the point is,
he's slight.
He's slight, but even then, no, like he's
5'8".
He gets like he put on muscle to play Spider-Man, but he's still pretty thin. But Alan Ritchson is a thing right now. Alan Ritchson is very popular right now, and the dude is jacked beyond belief. Now, that's a guy you could say that's different, sure.
I think that there are more objective standards for actors being attractive and also for their physiques than actresses these days.
Yeah.
I think there's more of a concerted effort to cast less than objectively attractive women.
Yeah,
these days.
Because the women will complain that like it's you have unrealistic beauty standards, and there is something to be said about the idea of saying like, oh, you can't cast Sydney Sweeney in this because she's going to set unrealistic beauty standards, or when they would bring up the photoshopping discussion with social media and stuff, right, where they would talk about stop photoshopping women on magazine covers because it's setting unrealistic beauty standards. Where are her organs, for goodness sake? The problem is you can go on any Instagram channel and there's some face tuning going on, but the look for objective beauty can still be found all over. The problem is those women that seem to find that for themselves don't have the victim complex that a lot of these Hollywood women have because they have to work for their physiques.
Well, there are two obvious problems with the unrealistic beauty standards complaint, which is, first of all, when have beauty standards been realistic in all of human history?
And why should they be?
When have they been realistic? I mean, Marie Antoinette, is that a realistic beauty standard? It wasn't even a realistic beauty standard for her. And then secondly, I forgot where I was going with that.
I hate that.
Whatever.
That happens all the time.
But yeah, it's like there shouldn't be realistic beauty standards because beauty is, supposed to be a cut above the rest. It's supposed to be exceptional. It's supposed to be something that you remember. I mean, that's how it was before the internet, is you would see a couple of dimes in your lifetime and you would remember it forever. Or you would see it in art.
Here's an interesting discussion then. Okay, so you could go down two avenues. You could go down the Dune casting route and you can cast Zendaya, who doesn't look like the most knockout 10 out of 10 supermodel, and say, look, she looks beautiful on a red carpet, but in this movie, she looks like somebody who's lived a life in a war-torn desert. Right? Or you can cast like a supermodel to do that role, and it will take you out of it, but you've met your unrealistic beauty standards and you're showing the height of beauty. So which one's right? Now, I would argue that in the hands of the right director who actually takes his story seriously and wants to create some type of narrative that's actually true to the source material or is actually focused on what the story means, then you can go wherever you want with the casting. But if you're casting teenage slasher flicks, perhaps the idea is that because that is the way that art is done, that I don't want to look at mid-looking teenage, college kids getting cut up. Does that make sense? Like, I just saw a picture posted the other day of like the initial casts of both Scream and I Know What You Did Last Summer, and it's all, even back then, you could make the argument that Matthew Lillard wasn't the traditionally handsome. Skeet Ulrich looks like what you would see as the traditionally handsome Hollywood man. Skeet Ulrich has what you would call an interesting face. Jamie Kennedy, same thing. For the women, though, Neve Campbell, Courtney Cox, Rose McGowan, traditionally beautiful women. You look at I Know What You Did Last Summer.
So it got flipped?
Yeah, like you look at I Know What You Did Last Summer, different. Okay, Ryan Phillippe, Freddie Prinze Jr., Sarah Michelle Gellar, and Jennifer Love Hewitt. All 4 traditionally beautiful people. And I would argue for those types of movies, that makes perfect sense. But if you're going to cast a television show or a movie that's high concept and wants to be loyal to a certain type of idea or style, then there's leeway there. The problem is people don't want to apply those rules objectively throughout. Does that make sense?
Apply those rules.
They want to apply them. They don't want to apply them objectively. They want to use a blanket statement for all of it. They should all be objectively beautiful, or they should all be loyal to source material, or as if they look like real people. Like when I watch movies and television shows, I used to make jokes. Like there were characters on Covert Affairs, like there's spies that just look like a dude you'd see at like a Walmart on a Friday. I was like, I like that. I like the idea that there's a dude out there who he flies under the radar for that reason. They made that joke about Ben Affleck when he got cast in Argo. The real person that movie is based on was like a foot shorter than him and very much an average looking dude. Ben Affleck is 6'4" and in a Hollywood superstar. So does that follow in line with what he actually looked like? No, but he certainly looks good on screen.
Yeah, I think it's easier to suspend disbelief when it's somebody who is unrealistically attractive, though. Am I wrong?
Say that again?
It's easier to suspend disbelief when the person on screen is unrealistically attractive.
I mean, some people might even say the other. Like if everybody's cast in sort of... So I'll mention another one. One of my favorite castings of all time. Somebody mentioned Denise Richards in Starship Troopers. I would say Denise Richards in The World Is Not Enough, where she plays the world's hottest nuclear physicist. Okay? I don't need a James Bond movie to give me average-looking people. I need a James Bond movie to give me women that are unbelievably beautiful, and James Bond to look like what you imagine a spy would look like in a spy novel.
We've got $20 from an authentic tin can. Said the emotional fragility of the left is on constant display on Twix. Look at this right winger making fun of women. Typical conservative behavior. Herder. Yeah, I think it really sent them over the ledge. Like they were having full meltdowns over that. I mean, it's not like Halle Bailey is going to see the tweet unless you amplify it that much.
I mean, but the thing is this is what happens when you go after a specific person on the internet. It's going to, especially people
and
who
she seems like such a nice person. That's the thing.
I thought, wasn't there that incident at the nail salon where she was like really mean to some lady at a nail salon?
Well, suddenly I didn't know how to read.
Right, yes. But you know what I'm saying, right? Yeah. Like when you go after a specific person, especially if you're at a level of fame now where you have Stan accounts dedicated to you, you're going to draw, like talking negatively about that person, you will draw the ire of those people.
I think there's a lot of coping on both sides. I think when there is a celebrity, especially a female, like an actress, who the right specifically dislikes, like, they're like, oh, she's mid.
Like Brie Larson.
Like Brie Larson.
Or
like
Rachel Zegler.
Or Rachel Zegler. These are two objectively attractive women. Yep. That's just the truth. Like them being physically attractive doesn't mean you can't criticize them, though.
I still think that I have like an argument against the Brie Larson one. I think what it is most, for a lot of people, all they ever saw were the thumbnails where she's like making a face or the only exposure you have to her is when she's making a speech that's where she's saying something particularly grating. I don't need to know what a white man thinks about a wrinkle in time. It wasn't made for him. Somebody's gonna look ugly to you if they're saying something that obnoxious.
They're being ugly.
They're being an ugly person, therefore it shines through.
Yeah. Okay, let's retire that and read these super chats.
All right.
Colton Coldrick said, was Mary named after the state of Maryland? No, I was not.
Let's get a second crisis party. We're almost at a second crisis party. Weird, as Eugene says in the chat.
Hiroshima Otaru said Shani is supposed to be a ginger. It's woke casting.
Well,
is that true? Is that from the book?
I do love the idea that even Villeneuve is like, I refuse to cast any redheads.
Is that in the book? I wasn't aware of that. He also said he can't even do Dune Messiah. He changed too much of the lore and Fremen culture to actually do Messiah and make sense. Villeneuve is a hack.
Have no fear, though, guys.
And also, this ruined my chance of getting a real Dune movie.
Have no fear, guys. They are casting a white Jimmy Olsen in Superman Legacy. Also, another thing that's funny, the whole the idea that meritocracy doesn't matter was destroyed over the weekend. I almost wish we would have talked about this in the segment. So Wendell Pierce, the actor Wendell Pierce, he was in The Wire back in the day. He was in Jack Ryan with John Krasinski and a whole host of other things. He was in Suits. He plays He plays Rachel's dad in Suits. He's a very well-liked actor. He's actually one of these people that kind of transcends the idea where he's got some Trump derangement syndrome when he tweets sometimes, but people love him as an actor, right? And he got cast as Perry White in Superman Legacy, and almost universally, everyone's like, awesome. That's really good. That's fantastic casting. And that character is a race swap. So it's really, really interesting how when an actor is really good and people really like them, it's funny how the racial argument doesn't seem to matter.
Okay, but what if, I'm trying to think of a good example. Like, what if instead of David Corenswet, it was a really well-liked black actor who is around the same age? Who would that be?
It's different though because David Corenswet isn't. They're not going to do that because they're not casting known men as Superman right now. Tyler Hoechlin played him in Superman and Lois.
We've got a relatively unknown David Corenswet, who is the white actor. What about a well-known, popular black actor cast in Superman Legacy?
Well, it depends on if they were going to do the Val Zod Earth 2 Superman, or if they were going to do the... Okay, so if what they
just
do...
a race swap.
If they race swap, and they get... if they got maybe John David Washington, he's kind of... or no, because Michael B. Jordan was set to do the Val Zod thing, right? You get Michael B. Jordan to do it. No, I think there's still backlash, but I think that's more tied to the character itself.
Okay. But if it's an ancillary character and you find a well-known and well-liked actor, nobody's really going to mind.
The same thing with Nick Fury. I think that is it's kind of it's very easy to miss and not point out, but it is a sad fact of the matter that important characters matter more to people than less important characters. Yeah. The star power of Samuel L. Jackson outshone the star power or the likability of Nick Fury when he was cast.
Yeah. Bucky Ducky said, it's tin hat time, my favorite part of the show. Yeah, we should do that more often. Drewish AF said, People's Joker is a dude pretending to be my ex-GF. Oh, that's scary. Corey Anderson said, Mary, we missed you.
They missed you. They certainly did. Yesterday, they were like...
That's awful nice.
Yesterday, they were like, can we get this Brett guy out of here and get Mary back, please?
We need both. Yeah. To keep this ship afloat. Shane H. Wilder said Camelot didn't do anything worthy of the holy water. He also kept his clothes on. Don't trust Bucky. He's gaslighting everybody. There were no physics.
Psychics.
Oh, psychics.
Yeah.
Psychics.
Or physics.
Got it.
Definitely weren't any physics. If I'm there, there's definitely no physics.
Wait, if you guys had reached 10 crisis parties, would he have actually taken his shirt off?
Probably, if we'd done that, yeah.
Yeah, I'm also I'm kind of glad that we didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have.
It would be kind of gay if the audience who is mostly male and then the panel of all men were really happy to see this guy take his shirt off.
When he does it on his show, it's with Zia, who's a woman.
Right.
So
if it's just him, then it's the kind of weird, right? Yeah. Shane H. Wilder said, send prayers today as I will be spending my evening and half the night covering Super Tuesday. Any and all meme ideas will obviously be delayed.
Okay, well, that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that.
Disco Jensen said, the second renaissance is over and we've come to the age of mediocrity. Blame the commies. Everything they can't create or lift up, they tear down. Are we in the age of mediocrity?
Yes, we are. And when it comes to Hollywood, we're in an age. Well, I think that right now the age of I guess it wouldn't be the age of enlightenment, but the age of elevation and entertainment wouldn't be in standard Hollywood. It would be through kids who are finding the streamers they like and the influencers they like. It went a different direction. We had a whole discussion the other day about whether the accessibility of technology now has made art better or worse. Some people would argue that art should always be beautiful and well structured. You should always find the best shot. I argue a lot that I say, look, my favorite comedy skits that I see now are done by people on their phones on Instagram. Like that, it's a bridge that allows people to find their way to an audience with their own creativity that allows them to just get up and go. And I appreciate that.
Well, that's art.
Yeah.
Right. It is art. It's scripted content. It's, you know, it's artfully done, but it's consumer friendly, I guess.
And
it's a consumer product that also is art. Which is fine.
I have no problem with that.
I think the mediocrity is actually in the writing in Hollywood now, more so than talent. Like, there's still plenty of talent coming through.
Like, I look at the Sydney Sweeney sketch where she's the Hooters girl.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. The Sydney Sweeney sketch where she's the Hooters girl, and
she's literally like. 35, 36, $37,000.
But when I look at that, I think of the Stormy G, and she's had plenty of skits that she's made that have made me laugh 10 times harder.
That's the issue. Is SNL is writing based off of the skits that they look at on Instagram, so they're essentially stealing content.
Yep.
Cobra Commander said, Edgar Allan Poe said there is no exquisite beauty without some strangeness in the proportion. Billy just went too far with the goat eyes. Well, it wasn't her choice, okay?
She didn't have a say in the matter.
She didn't have a say in how far apart her eyes were going to be. But I like it. I like it, especially on Anya Taylor-Joy.
No
one looks at Anya Taylor-Joy and insults her for how far apart her eyes are.
Yeah, and like to me, it's just like different people are going to find different things attractive, and that's fine. And you're more than just one aspect of your looks, right? And there are plenty of actors. Look, you go on any television show, and a lot of the best actors that you're ever gonna see are just, especially on TV, are just regular looking people. I mean, they're still camera ready, but they're like, I'm watching this show Third Watch, and there's actors on there that they just like Skip Sutton, I forget his last name. He just looks like every dude you've ever seen sitting on the end of a bar. On a weekend. But in the show, he plays like a cop of 20 years. You don't need a male model to play a cop of 20 years. You need a dude who looks like he's been playing that role for 20 years.
You've been at bars a lot, looking at the guy at the end of the bar.
You understand what I'm saying. Yes. But his partner, like he's partnered with a young Kobe Bell who is young, and he looks his part, right? Everybody's got a role to play. Now, the women on the show... I forget so on that show there's a female cop who's been doing it for like 10 years. I forget the actress's name now. I feel like a failure. I should remember her name. And then she kind of looks a little bit haggard because she's been doing the job for 10 years. And then there's an EMS worker played by Kim Raver who's young, thin, and pretty. They have different roles to play.
I think that Sydney Sweeney should play an air traffic controller next.
She can make the ESG plane movie.
Yeah.
Her and
oh yeah, she'll be the female pilot that almost crashes.
It would be better if the best thing is like they don't find another actress. They have twins and they just double her, and she plays both pilots.
Yeah, I love that. Bucky Ducky said, "Party for Brett. Ask and ye shall receive." Thank you. DCNC said, "Second crisis party. Okay. Welcome back, Mary. Good show, guys."
Thank you.
Thank you. Yoshima Otaru said, race swapping is always BS. Don't at me. I'm more so on your side on this, Yoshima Otaru. I believe that there's always an agenda behind it, even if they happen to make an okay casting decision, despite the race swapping. There is something ideological about it every time, in my opinion.
I have made peace long ago with the idea that I know that, but I focus on the project itself, and like if I look at every
focus on the bright side.
If I look at every single project on a macro scale, in macro scale terms, it just drives you insane. So I'll take what I can get and be done with it. If that bothers you, I understand. You might think that the desire should be to push back constantly. But to me, that's a lot of times it's screaming into the void, and I keep my sanity by focusing on each project on an individual level. Somebody pointed out, says the cast of CSI Miami was noticeably hotter, thanks CSI New York than CSI New York or Las Vegas. Yes, absolutely. That is 110% true. It's actually even really funnier. Like one of the guy who played like Ryan Wolf, like between season 3 and like what he started in season 3, and like by season 4 he's just jacked. Like they hired him, and they're like, you gotta hit the gym, dude. Like
they didn't give him enough time.
Nope.
Beforehand. Alahad said, Brett is so pretty, my heart hurts. Mary ugly. Tongue out emoji.
Something tells me that's not being honest.
Or maybe he's just really into you.
Well, who can blame him?
Unless it's a she.
There's a $20 one there.
Ashton Stelias, I guess that's how I say it. I'm sorry if I said it wrong. Obligatory super chat. Air traffic control mentioned. What are safety standards?
I'm just picturing all of the jokes that could be made about her breasts in an air traffic, in anything involving plane. It would be great.
There are none coming to mind right now, but you should get writing on that.
We'll do that.
Yeah. Not that John Stewart said, I don't remember much backlash from Idris Elba playing Heimdall. Yep. Or did I just not hear about it?
No, there was. I mean, there were definitely people that pointed it out.
Wait, was this?
In Thor. He plays it's literally a Norse god.
Oh. Yeah.
But the discourse around him and James Bond for years has always been, you could make the argument that as much back and forth as there is about the Idris Elba as James Bond casting, a lot of people are going to be a lot more willing to give leeway to him doing it than some dude from Bridgerton who nobody's ever heard of.
But that's how you get it past the radar is the thing.
You're not wrong. Look, and again, then I would watch it like, yeah, but I don't know if Regé-Jean Page can act. Can that dude act? I know Idris Elba can act. I'm not worried about where my $17 is going.
I'm sure there are a lot of exceptionally talented black female pilots out there who are unfairly getting called diversity hires. Shane H. Wilder said, no physics or psychics, damn autocorrect. No, I was the one who autocorrected you. It wasn't your computer's fault.
No, I
think
it did. I think it did say physics.
It did?
Yeah.
Am I actually good at reading out loud?
But I think we literally were just talking about this yesterday because I was like,
it says psychics here.
One of the things, Mary, is that I'm objectively illiterate, and every day you're not here, they grow more appreciative of your ability to read all the super chats without screwing anything up.
Maybe I should be a kindergarten teacher and I read out the picture books to them. Do that. Bucky Ducky said, I'm not gaslighting you. Don't even know what that means.
You don't even know what that means.
What's gaslighting?
Look, I'm not I don't even know what that is. That's crazy.
You probably heard that from your insane therapist. Shane H. Wilder said, sounds like something a gaslighter would say. Bucky Ducky said, Brett, Shane is being mean to me.
Stop it.
You guys
stop being mean to
fighting
each other.
or we're turning this podcast around.
I'm getting upset now, and you're going to be grounded and you're going to go to your room with no dinner.
Urashima Utaru said, I see people make fun of the far-eyed girls often.
Well, there it is.
Rachel Zegler's still pretty. I don't care what anyone says. It's true.
I agree 110%. All right, guys, before we go, would you hit the like button on this video, please, and subscribe to this channel if you have not done so already, please, and thank you. Mary, let everyone know where they can find you.
Yes, you can send me validation on Instagram at Mary Archived, or you can send me hate on X, that is also Mary Archived, and go to the New Nation podcast on their YouTube channel and take a look at our episode. It's not one you want to miss.
Perfect. We got one more here from Bucky Ducky. Says, Brett is so right. Mary, your ability to just say these words is sometimes very impressive.
Gotta thank my classical education.
And make fun of my classical education. It's a problem. Guys, if you want to follow me, you can follow me on Instagram and Twix at Brett Dasovic on both of those platforms. I can at least type well most of the time. Most of my tweets come out coherent. So
I don't know. I see you typing on Slack and you backspace it 20 times.
What?
When you're typing messages, I see you doing it and I'm like, just type faster.
Wait, most of the things we send to you is links back and forth.
Yeah, but when I see you message other people.
Does that happen? Oh, yeah. Well, if I'm typing,
because I can see your monitor.
Computer or phone is different.
On the computer, yes.
Computer's different than phone.
Yes.
Phone's a lot easier to type. All right, guys. At Brett Dasovic on both those platforms. We got one more here from Cobra Command Derp. Says, did you ever act up intentionally just to miss out on dinner so you knew you wouldn't enjoy? It isn't punishment if it isn't catering to your desires.
Did you do that?
I don't think I ever did that.
I don't think I was that picky of an eater, honestly.
I was an unbelievably picky eater, but I don't think I was ever
You still are, but you eat HEATS tacos, so what does that say about you?
There's now a running tally going on the internet of all the times I will eat HEATS tacos.
It's in the triple digits. That's worse than a body count.
And I will not. And I ate Taco Bell the other day, and when
What's
I got
your HEATS tacos body count?
Yeah. And I ate Taco Bell last night, and I left feeling a bit uneasy. Not unhealthy, but I was just It's been a while. The cheesy gordita crunch was fine, I guess. Like maybe it's like because like I eat
all the same.
I eat the Sheets tacos and I expect them to be mediocre. So when they're a little bit above mediocre, they live up to their expectations. But then I eat the Taco Bell and I expect it to be better, and it's just Taco Bell.
Taco Bell is most definitely better than Sheets.
Oh, it is.
Tacos. Yeah.
It was good though. It was good. It was good. It just left me feeling a little bit weird yesterday. Guys, we are here 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That is noon Pacific. We are on Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, Pandora, and Spotify. If you would prefer to listen rather than watch. If you want to follow the show on social media, we are on Twix at popculture_show, Facebook and TikTok, except for not on TikTok, at Pop Culture Crisis, Instagram at Pop Culture Crisis Pod. One more from Shane H. Wilder says, "Joke's on you, Brett. I'm fasting today." He's fasting today.
Okay, we love a Catholic skinny legend for that.
And one more from Corey Anderson says, "Mary is a smoke show. Devout." Do you want to read that one? No?
Okay. Okay, fine. Devout, chaste, headstrong, and smart. What more could you want? Brett, meh.
Fair
Eats
enough.
Sheets tacos.
How could you respect anyone that would do such a thing?
It's very, very trashy.
Fair enough.
Treating your body like a garbage disposal.
Says the woman eating Taco Bell every day.
Every day?
Okay, maybe not every day, but on a regular basis.
I will turn this podcast around.
One more from Bucky Ducky says, "Corey, ain't you married?"
Yeah, you have said that you're married, so you can't take it back now.
Better go to church, bro. Guys, we will be back with another episode tomorrow. We'll see you then.
Bye.
Bye, guys.